Hey, Shalom, Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh, double honors of the apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you brothers in the highways and byways, doing the work sincerely and faithfully, and continually fighting that good fight of faith. Lord willing, we're finding that number to be delivered. All right, so I'm gonna try to go through a little bit of this whole Minnesota thing and what's been going on and what Donald Trump has in store, not only for Minnesota, but throughout the four corners of this country. All right. So the first video I'm going to play is this video here. Now, this video was an individual out there amongst the protesters in Minneapolis, and he was burning the flag. But the protesters was onto his ass, and they chased him down. What they should have done, they should have ripped that damn hat off his head, that mask. But let me play it, let you check it out.
Hey, fuck your flag burning, dude. That was fucked up.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Yeah. Why would you run off?
Why
would you run off? That's weird, to burn a flag and run off. That doesn't make sense. That's not a protest.
Why are you not back there at the protest where you got everybody riled up? You came here to do what? You a boogaloo boy? An accelerationist? What are you doing here? Where's your car? Where you from? Why are you here?
Yeah, we remember George Floyd, so we know you guys are around.
Hey, fuck your flag burning, dude. That was fucked up.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
We're not happy. He doesn't even know where the fuck he is. He doesn't even know where his fucking car is. Why?
Why are you hiding your face?
Hey, fuck your flag.
All right, so what you have here is what you call an agent provocateur. All right, this individual was out there amongst the masses, and trying to incite these individuals who were so-called peacefully protesting, trying to incite them or get them to follow suit. All right, and because Donald Trump is public enemy number one, people feel that America is no longer America. And so what this dude was doing, again, agent provocateur, what he was doing, he was burning the flag, trying to get people to jump on board so he can, get the people incited to raise up, And that's happened a few times here in Boston, where there was downtown Boston and whatever, I can't remember exactly what was happening, but these agent provocateurs was busting windows, throwing shit at police cars, and them YNs, they fall right into it, But all that being said, this is what's gonna give Donald Trump the green light to finally, solidify these troops into these regions. All right. So it says, what is the meaning of agent provocateur? It says, an agent provocateur, French for provoking agent, is someone, often a secret agent or undercover operative, who encourages individuals or groups to commit illegal acts, rebellion, or violence to justify their arrest, disrupt, or prosecution, essentially entrapping them by inciting crimes they wouldn't have committed otherwise. They sow discord within movements, agitate riots, or push activists towards more extreme actions as a hidden instigator or troublemaker. All right. So this is what that dude was doing. This is what he was doing. He was trying to incite them and instigate them to do something outside or more drastic than just standing around protesting. So you're going to have that. You're going to see more of this, especially in these cities and towns that these ICE agents are ramping up in, such as here in Boston. So it's not just going to be Minneapolis. It's going to be all over the place. All right, let me read this. It says, President Trump has threatened to deploy National Guard troops to cities like Boston as part of an immigration crackdown, promoting Boston's Mayor Michelle Wu and Governor Maura Healey to prepare and publicly state that they don't want or need federal troops, as Massachusetts has its own guard and handles public safety locally. Though Trump has previously used federal authorities' Title X to federalize guard units for operations in other cities like Los Angeles, sparking illegal challenges and debate over presidential power. All right? So, what we're seeing here is nothing new. We've been telling you people about all these things. Shit, I remember back years ago, we was telling, people that, the president under executive orders is going to have the ability to most likely cancel the elections, and keep him as president. You know how much backlash we got from shit like that? But now you're starting to see it. Okay? Now you're starting to see what's actually taking place. Right? So let's go on. Let me read this here. This is Washington Post. It says Pentagon readies 1,500 soldiers to possibly deploy to Minnesota, officials say. It says Minneapolis mayor said Saturday that the administration is trying to bait protesters into creating a pretext for an active duty deployment. All right? And we just saw one of the baiting tactics that they like to use by going in, burning the American flag, But what's going to start happening, and you'll see, a lot of this shit is going to be done under the cover of night. Nighttime brings a certain element to people when they're in the shadows. They can get shit done. In broad daylight, regular people ain't going to want to go do no crime or no bullshit. So under the cover of night, they're going to go out there. There's agent provocateurs, but there are going to be several things that are going to kick off these protests, these riots, these uproars. There's going to be several different things. All right. So it says the Pentagon has ordered about 1,500 active duty soldiers to prepare for possible deployment to Minnesota, defense officials told the Washington Post late Saturday, after President Donald Trump threatened to invoke the Insurection Act in response to unrest there. All right. And they're trying to get that unrest going, as you see in the cat with the flag. It says the soldiers are assigned to 2 infantry battalions with the Army's 11th Airborne Division, which is based in Alaska and specialized in cold weather operations. It says the Army placed its units on prepared to deploy orders in case violence in Minnesota escalates, officials said, characterizing the move as prudent planning. It is not clear whether any of them will be sent to the state, the official said, speaking like some others on the conditions of anonymity to discuss sensitive military planning. Anonymity. It's lucky I can't get that out for some reason. All right. So this is what they got going on. They're going to get it done. All right. They're going to get their moves in their plan, their scheme. They're going to get it done. So he said they're gonna enact the Insurection Act of 1807. It says the Insurection Act of 1807, or just the Insurrection Act, is the U.S. federal law that empowers the President of the United States to nationally deploy the U.S. Armed Forces to federalize the National Guard units of the individual states in specific circumstances such as the suppression of civilian disorder, of insurrection, and of armed rebellion against federal government of the United States. says the Insurection Act provides a statutory exception to the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878. Shalagia. It says that limits the president's deployment in U.S. military to enforce either civil law or criminal law within the United States. So here you have 71 years later, they put this Posse Comitatus Act in place. But as you see, Esau can do whatever he wants because this is his kingdom. He can break the rules that he makes, as it reads. The Insurection Act provides a statutory exception because the Posse Comitatus Act, we'll click on that. It says the Posse Comitatus Act, United States federal law, original at 20 signed into law on June 18th, 1878 by President Rutherford B. Hayes, that limits the use of federal military personnel to enforce domestic law by the federal government or by other government entities such as county sheriffs, justice of the peace. Congress passed the act as an amendment to the Army appropriations. All right. So basically, they're trying to limit the ability of federal military use for domestic, level issues, if you will. All right. So let me play this quick video, and you brothers are going to remember all these videos that I'm putting up. Now, again, when you start planning on deploying troops, 1,500 or more, to different regions of this country, that's a lot of people, man. That's a lot of troops. All right. And depending on how fast and widespread this thing happens, they're going to need equipment, right? So you brothers remember all these videos we've been seeing throughout the years about these trains carrying all this military equipment. What do you think it's for? This is exactly what it's for. All right. This equipment in these vehicles aren't being sent overseas. All right. They're being brought to different locations within this country, to be used and utilized in the fact that the Insurection Act is employed. All right. Now, the average person is not going to be aware or have any clue as to what's going on. And shit, if you make mention of, these trains carrying all these military vehicles and weapons, they're not going to have any idea. Now, some are going to say, as you see the title here, 1 mile military train, Texas to DC, with tanks, armors, and more, Army's 250th parade. So some people who don't know a damn thing, they're looking at it, it's just a show of force. It's to show our military might, what we have. That's not what's happening here. This shit has been going on long before this 250th anniversary. All right? This has been going on for a pretty long time. And we've been calling it as we've been seeing it. They're going to start utilizing these tanks. I know down by where I live, there's an Army Reserve base. They totally renovated that place. They got all kinds of vehicles back there now. It's on a big piece of land. So I'm sure the minute they start going down, with these agents down in this region and setting up agent provocateurs to start some trouble, all these things are going to start coming to play, man. But we as the watchmen of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, we're going to tell you these things. We're going to warn you of these things. And this is what our job is to do, is to warn you. Now, if we want to go to the apologist goons and the Christians, if you want to go see them, be our guests. We ain't gonna cry a tear for you. Go over there and get lost in the source. This is Isaiah 10:1. It's woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. All right. When you look at, the Insurection Act, when you look at Posse Comitatus Act, when you look at these things, they're grievous all the way around. And when they put these things into play and they put them into law, again, we've been speaking about presidential executive orders, right? Damn near every single one of them are grievous. But these are the things that must be done for prophecy and the things that we've been speaking about to come to pass. All right? So woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. You ain't slick. We know what's going on. The Lord has given us the eye salve to see. And let me say this too, and I made mention of this the other day. A lot of you people who are coming out on these platforms and these shows and lessons, however you all set your thing up, you gotta understand. 2008, I'm gonna start there. In 2008, the majority of you people were nowhere to be found. Nowhere. All right? And this is how we know that by delving into the Hebrew Israelite thing, you're just looking for ratings. You're just looking for content because you truly don't care about the masses. You truly don't care about the word of Yahweh Shai, as you crazily call him Jesus Christ and God. You don't care because it's all about ratings and numbers and money for you people. You're not true watchmen. You see the next hot thing and you jump on it. And this is why we also understand that when the Lord spoke about, the line going throughout the world, this internet was set up for this sole purpose of the pushing of the word of Yahweh Shai into the four corners of the earth. I mean, that's pretty much really, that's all that's trending right now. Anything biblical, anything religious, everybody's jumping on board. People who've never picked the Bible up in their life. You got cats on these little platforms, trying to tell certain stories of the scriptures and just getting it all wrong, butchering it. And that just goes to show you. They was trolling and they see, oh, Hebrew Israelites, what's this? Oh, let me get on that. And of course, you're going to side with the Christian ways of this world and come against the Hebrew Israelites, those who are speaking the truth, I should say. And there you have it. You got your gainsayers, your naysayers, your non-believers. They're going to flock right to you because what? You have something in common. All right? But rest assured, what we've been telling and prophesying from the head apostles on down now is coming to pass. All right? This whole thing with the Insurection Act being, just about, fully implemented, what do you think is going to happen? There's going to be troops. There's going to be, detention centers. There's going to be curfews. All right? There's going to be bodies in the street because it's going to get ugly out here, man. It's going to get real ugly to the point where people are going to be fed up and it may come to a firearm fight with the military, with the police, with these agents. It may come to that. Second Ezra 15 and 17. And let me open it up a little bit. In 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter can never get old, man, because prophecies are still unfolding. All right? Let me start at 14. Woe unto the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. Like I said, that time is coming where they may start, using, their weapons against each other. The average, so-called average everyday protester. We're here, man. We're here. This is what we've been telling you. 15. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. All right? So keep in mind, when sedition comes, that's going to be a gateway for any and everybody with that criminal mind or that criminal element. They're not just going to be going up against the government. All right? They're going to be going up against any and everybody whom they see fit and choose, man. Once society breaks down and it's a lawless place, you think it's just going to be, let's just go against the agents and ICE. No, they're going to be going against any and everybody. It's going to be an unsafe place to live, man. As it is written, it says, it shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor their princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right? Let's look up that word sedition. And I'm just going to use the regular dictionary. Sedition refers to speech or action that incites rebellion, unrest, or violence against a government or its authority. All right? So now, let's hold that. Let's go back to where we are with the Insurection Act. Okay? It says the Insurection Act empowers the President of the United States to nationally deploy the U.S. Armed Forces and to federalize the National Guard units of individual states in specific circumstances such as the suppression of civil disorder, insurrection, and of armed rebellion against the federal government of the U.S. Okay? So that goes right along with what 2nd Ezra is talking about. Okay? It goes right along with what 2nd Ezra is talking about. So let's go back to 2nd Ezra. It says, for there should be sedition among men, hence the Insurection Act, and invading one another. So again, it's going to be an open door for everybody to do whatever they want. Hence what you see in the purge. This is going to be like purge conditions. In the course of their actions, within in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Again, those checkpoints. All right, these military brigades or those roadblocks. You see all those tanks? One will say, well, why do they need so many tanks? Because they're gonna be cordoning off cities, roads, towns, states. All right? America is about to be put in a chokehold, whether you people believe it or not. Whether you hear forbid, they're about to put this place in a chokehold. All right? And once they choke you out, bring you to your knees, get you to comply with what they want you to comply with, MOTB in particular, and then you're going to know and understand that these devils have been talking about their new world order. Okay? Their one world government. This is what they're aiming for. All right? It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. All right. So if you look at a cage full of animals, right, and you put an enemy animal in that cage, they're all are going to, converge on that enemy that has come into that cage. All right. And this is what you're seeing. You're seeing that very same thing play out here in America. That the ICE agents are that enemy animal, and the people are gonna surge on them. But when that element is gone, what do you think is gonna happen next? They're gonna turn on each other, right? They're going to turn on each other. Just like when you see in this cat that was burning the flag, he went in there, he started the fire, so to say, and got the hell out of there. These ICE agents are going in, they're starting the fire, and then they're going to get the hell out of there. And this is when you're going to see, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right? So we're coming into that phase, and Esau has this thing set up in phases. But if you're not in tuned to what's going on, and if you're not hearing the prophets of the Lord, you probably gonna get caught up in that, man. You probably gonna get caught right up in this madness. Okay? And to be caught up in it, you're going to find yourself, at the mercies or lack thereof of this system where you're going to have no choice but to conform. Okay? And once you conform, then you might as well forget it. You might as well forget it. Because at the end of the day, we of the hopeful elect, pray that Yahweh Shemiah Shai watch over and protect us and guide us and lead us, through the Spirit. Lord willing, we get that ability to navigate through this thing, through the Spirit, because that's what it's going to take, man. It's going to be the Spirit of the Lord that guides us and navigates us through these terrible, troublesome times. And most of you people have no idea, because you're just going to rest your case with Esau Edom, telling you what to do and where to go and how to live and when you can leave. All right. So in other words, what the ultimate thing is going to be is this: they got to totally break America down to build it up to the way they want it. All right. And by breaking it down, you got to break these people down. You got to bring the masses to their knees. And that being done, there may be bloodshed to get that done. And there's going to be bloodshed to get these things done. This is what happens. The so-called American people, you're expendable. Just look at the towers when they came down. You think they gave a damn about 3,000 people? Absolutely not. All right? When an agenda is set forth, they'll stop at nothing. You had the Oklahoma City bombing. I think the dude was Timothy McVeigh, I think his name was, who allegedly drove a van up in front of that building and blew damn near the full face of the building off. Mass casualties. But there was an agenda behind all that. All right? So understand, we're in that time. You're going to have these agent provocateurs that are really going to kick this thing off into high gear. You're gonna have these ICE agents, deployed throughout, this country, in high gear, ramping up and taking anybody. I was reading an article before I started this lesson. This dude who was in the military, I think it was in the Navy or the National Guard, or one of them. He had just got married to this woman from Venezuela. They've been married for 2 years. They went to the immigration office to make sure her documents were all in order. And what they do, the dude said, the agent worker left them, said, "I'll be right back." And sure as shit, 2 ICE agents came in there and snatched her up. And he was like, "Hey, that's my wife." They were like, she's an immigrant. She out of here. So in the story I was reading, he was talking about he's trying to still get his wife back. It's not right, so on and so forth. He can go visit her once a week. But ultimately, she gonna be set in one of them camps, and this is what's gonna happen. So, you individuals out here in this country, you think because you've been here for a little while and you think you're a citizen, it doesn't matter. Your days, y'all days are numbered, man. Your days are numbered here in this country. And to you sisters out here who truly trust and believe in the name of Yahweh Shemiah Shai, who may be of the other tribes, and again, it doesn't matter what tribe you're from now, because they're just taking anybody. But, pray to Yahweh Shemiah Shai without ceasing, that he covers you and protects you. All right? And the most important thing we got to remember, the Lord's will is going to be done. All right? So again, I'll pray for you, brothers. You brothers pray for us over here in Boston. And may the Lord be with you, brothers. All right? So the next time I'm going to say shalom.